terms of other ways to protect people, I mean, the vaccine, people are really hoping that it's going to be the, you know, the silver pill, the thing that fixes everything and everything can go back to normal. But in the meantime, as you're alluding to, this is going to potentially take a while. It may not be, probably won't be November, may not be January 2021. It may be next summer. It may even be beyond that, that we have a vaccine. How can we continue to protect ourselves and others? What are the proven ways that we know of right now?
Well, that is the trillion-dollar question. And let me put it in some context. When we look at what's happened in the United States to date, our best data as of today suggests that between 10 and 12% of the US population has been infected already, which many of those will obviously have some immunity. As I already pointed out, some may be losing it already. But to actually develop what we call herd immunity, the concept of enough people in the community having become immune, either through vaccination or through natural illness, that they're like rods in the virus transmission reaction. So that, you know, if I can't transmit to at least 1+ people, then the virus is going to die out. If I transmit to only 7.7% or 0.7 people, then, you know, over time, you're going to see the pandemic die out in that area. And so one of the challenges we have with herd immunity is with this virus, our best guesstimate is it's going to take 50 to 70% of the population to be immune before we start to see herd immunity kick in. And even then, herd immunity is not like a light switch on and off. It's more like when you hear the old days, that pilot saying, okay, we're now beginning our descent into LaGuardia Airport. We'll be on the ground in 30 minutes. What will happen is if we get to 50 to 70%, that's when we see transmission slow down. And we've had some really remarkable experiences with that in the last several months. For example, in our prisons, where we've seen as high as 80 to 90% of the population getting infected, transmission didn't slow down until it got to that 60 to 70% level. So we have to, first of all, understand we have a lot more human wood to burn in this coronavirus forest fire. And transmission will continue. You know, we've been predicting from our group for the last 2 months that the fall was going to be a real challenge for several reasons. Number one is that when students came back to colleges, universities, and high schools, the older adolescents, younger adults, we're going to see an explosion of transmission. Well, it arrived right on time. And I think over the course of the next 6 to 12 weeks, we're going to see very substantial transmission in that population, which will spill over into those in the population that are potentially older, have underlying health concerns, and it'll be an amplifying event that will keep case numbers substantially increased. I think we're going to see more rounds of outbreaks in long-term care facilities as a result of that spillover, et cetera. But then in addition, one of the really quote unquote toxic situations with this virus in terms of transmission is indoor air. We know that that's where a lot of virus transmission can occur. That's where most of the super spreading events occur. It's the lack of ventilation and circulation. And as we get into our fall and into early winter, and you know, people are going to be inside, crowded areas will probably likely occur again, and we're going to see substantial transmission. Remember when we really were a house on fire this spring, we were in that late March, early April, going into May time period when we were coming out of our heating season. So this will be our first heating season indoors that we've had for much of North America, and that's true for much of the world. So it's going to be a challenge between the amplification of virus from schools, colleges, universities, and indoor air. I think we could have a really tough fall.